Are we rolling?
Well, you tell me.
Okay, so when did you build your first pedal?
First real pedal. That was in the 80s, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that. Fun story from that. The first distortion box I built was based on an article in Guitar Player. It was guitar preamp for guitar.
All right.
Okay, so this was just using an op-amp, and that, at the time, most of the distortion boxes like this one,
Yeah.
and MXR
Distortion Plus.
and the Todd preamp and the Ross distortion and you name it, everything was just an op-amp with clipping diodes. But there was something I didn't quite get along with in those.
Okay.
And at the time, it was from in the underground music scene. It was like this: most guitarists would get P90s because those were more powerful than other singer cores, but not as bassy as humbuckers.
Oh yeah.
And at the time, you could get
more clarity and punch.
More clarity and punch, and this was needed when you was overdriving an amp at the time.
Yeah.
And they didn't give up a whole lot of distortion either. But anyway, so I had this guitar with P90s, and what I looked for specifically, I just increased the gain, added some clipping diodes, and voila, we have a distortion box.
Yeah.
But what I was looking at was this. I wanted to get on the low E string something that would make it just snappy and not mushy. So that within this distorted sound, when you had it at first, it was this, the low E was a bit slow and didn't have this sharp
impact.
No impact, no. Yeah,
because bass swallows a lot of effect, right?
It became it made chords mushy and unclear. And so specifically, to get this, I was pretty okay with the sound. It's just that I wanted to get this firm,
a tighter low end.
And it proved that if I added a high pass filter at the input, I could tune this so that I could get the right tightness. And this was a capacitor. I had gone down to the local radio store where Hipstars, old Techniker, used. It was such a great
famous Swedish rock band, for those of you guys who don't know.
Famous Swedish technician.
Yeah. Yeah.
Robban on his flakmoppe.
Okay. What we in Sweden call a flakmoppe.
Yes, and he was responsible for taking all of the curly chords to Ängskolans, where he was a technician, and then he ran them through the cable straightener. That's why we don't have any coil cables. And you can certainly see him on his moped with
with all the curly cables.
With all picking on them up in the middle,
straightening them out.
And just straightening them out. So
death of the curly cord. He worked at the radio store, I guess.
Yes, the radio store. He was also the main service technician for Dynacord.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, I had went down to him and bought a number of capacitors in the appropriate range. And eventually I came up with that, okay, if we make, use this silver cap as input capacitor, and it produced a corner frequency of 179 hertz. And then, just at that point, yes, now there's this big.
And what was the amp that you built this for? Do you remember?
Actually, this wasn't specifically about any amp, although I think I had at the time a Highwood amp. But this was more a thing because this was before distortion. It was a way of getting the distorted sound into a more snappy, more lively sort of, without having it too loose. And it turned out that you needed to cut the bass a little bit to make it tight.
Yeah.
And if we look at that from a frequency on a guitar's perspective, then we see that, okay, the low E has a fundamental of 70 hertz. And so if we would have a high pass link at twice the frequency, then we would lower 70 hertz by 6 decibels, and that was approximately what was needed. Now, it was a little bit higher, but it was close enough. And I don't think I had... It sounded right. Yeah. Precisely there. It was just... Yeah. No.
Maybe. And did this pedal have clipping too, so it distorted?
It was a distortion box. It was just... It was made similar to this.
Yeah.
But
control, did you have volume and drag?
Volume and distortion control. But when you max the distortion, it was a bit mushy. And so just like all of the other ones. And so I wanted to get it so that it would just precisely make the E string healthy and tight.
Yeah.
And not like we're having a treble booster ahead of it, but okay, because if I could do that, then I could use this distortion boxes for distortion box for semi-distorted sounds, easily, or fairly distorted sound, but not heavy distortion.
Did you feel like you were onto something? Did this like make?
Yes, that was a revelation. That look, we need to actually lower the bass a little bit because we need to equalize the value of the strings.
Yeah.
And and also like this, as I was probably telling you before about this guy in California, Jose.
Oh yeah.
That I just heard of the other day. I wonder how late that came about. But anyway, I should have known about him before, but I didn't. That's the way it is. But I watched this excellent video with
Pete Thorne and Dave Rydman, right?
Yes, and Dave Rydman explained so well how this worked, and it was most educational. And so what this Jose guy would do was that he would add another input tube. But let's go back a little bit. Most of the American guitarists would say that, okay, we run through channel 1 because that has it cuts off the bass a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more, but and so what he did was he put another stage ahead of that also cut bass. And what you got then was a guitar sound with a lot of distortion in the treble.
Yeah, but not that much in the bass.
Not that much in the bass. And that kind of... well, because if we fast forward from or fast forward, but I mean in the big eruption in 1980, at that time, what made his sound so peculiar was that he had moved this high pass filter up to about 700 hertz, meaning that there was almost no fundamental on the guitar neck amplified as much as the overtones from each.
Yeah.
And what that gives is that you get the string value or the note value of each string is going to be equal regardless of where you're playing on the neck.
Joyce! Herre! Han har fler minuter. Men vänta. En sekund. Har du inga problem att editera bort?
Nej, det är bra.
Man ser det på datorskärmen. Voff, voff!
Okay, so at the time I was making this was probably at the same time, I guess, with a big eruption. But I wasn't quite that. I love this sound, but not necessarily the way that they.
Oh,
But the sound was so amazing that I gotta have that. I mean, it was because before that there were certain artists that had a great sound, such as Eric Johnson would have amazing sounds, and it was difficult to understand why.
yeah,
And it was difficult not to understand why, but how do you get these things?
yeah.
And
When was the first time that you heard a sound that made you like, I have to get that sound?
didn't I tell you that?
Let's do it again.
Okay, let's do it again. Okay. It's like this. I had this dream at the age of 12 and I thought, I just had this revelation, I'm going to play electric guitar. And so I went to a gypsy and rented a white Telecaster and a green tube amp. And we brought that to Guy. He had just gotten himself a drum kit and we were forming a band. And I was, 12 years old.
Yeah.
And I fired the amp out and hit the E string, and this is an amazing sound. There's only one problem. I didn't know I had no idea how to play guitar, but it didn't matter at all because the sound of the open A string and the open E string was so good that at that point I decided that I'm going to have to learn how to command this sound.
Yeah. Because
this is so amazing. It makes me feel a certain way. This is precisely what I had dreamt about. That, okay, I'm going to have to learn how to play. That's that simple. After experiencing, because it was not only a sound that you would hear with your ears, it was also a sound that you could feel. It was after that, I was experienced, and there was no turning back from that.
You were ruined.
And it was downhill. Ever after. There was no football, no.
So if you get back to your first pedal, did that evolve into you building other pedals when you wanted or needed other sounds, or?
That's a fun story because I played with a number of different bands, and eventually I was hired with a band because, they needed somebody to play mean lead guitar. That's what they already had other guitarists, but they needed somebody that was mean.
Yeah,
and so I got the job.
Yeah,
and I had a Boss OD1. Which I later changed to a fuzz pedal because it was more fun. And it was this amazing thing. Anyway, as the band evolved, there were many different sounds. One of the first things I had to get was I need to have this super heavy distorted sound, the kind that...
like a lead sound.
Yes, the kind of sound that Van Halen had, but this was like a
power pop. or
Yes, this was probably, it was a totally different type of music, but the sound would fit there. And for any leads, you had to learn how to play in major.
Yeah.
As well. Okay, so these are new times, and so I had to go out and get this, and I had this idea what it would sound like. There was a specific thing that I was looking for in the treble.
Yeah.
And I tried for 35 distortion pedals on one day.
Oh, wow.
I did try the Proco Rat, but through a Buddha amp, and it didn't. It wasn't the sound. I wasn't happy. I think if I had tried it on a different amp, I might have bought that. But because
the Rat it's a classic too.
Yes, it is a classic. Yes, and what's his name with Billy Idol? He had the
Steve Stevens.
Steve Stevens had one. Had a great sound too. It's just that I tried it through the wrong amp, and it was okay. No, I don't think I would like that.
Yeah.
And so eventually I found something cheap. It was just a few hundred more.
Yeah.
But it had the right. Okay. So then we had that sound.
What was it?
It was. This.
It's an Arion.
I used it on. That's not the actual unit because the actual unit broke down so many times that it didn't quite take touring that well.
No, they're made of plastic.
But that was one sound. But then you see that was mainly for the heavy distorted parts and maybe some leads. But then there were a whole lot of other. There's a whole lot of rhythm guitar.
Yeah,
there's a whole lot. And for that, I needed to have the certain different kinds of order sounds. And so I would actually in the same box that I built the first, that would see different PC boards with different circuits.
Okay, depending on what you needed.
Anything that I needed for the were material I needed just a hint of distortion or something that would be dynamic or something that would distort in a certain way so to make, for instance, the bass string break up more than the middle strings, things like that.
Yeah, more like a tweedy thing or...
Depending on the song, there were many different...
But I'm curious, how did you find... did you read about different circuits doing different kinds of distortion overdrive or did you experiment to get the sounds you were looking for or that you needed for the band?
I experimented. There wasn't that much to read.
No,
you have to come up with your own ideas. But eventually, I could come up with ideas like this. That okay, if we there was I was looking for textures that gave me inspiration for a way to play, and this was. I mean, I don't think you can find this on the internet even today.
No.
Because if you have this idea, I want it to sound, I want an inspirational sound. And then maybe it should be lightly distorted, but also dynamically controlled. And maybe it should have a certain slowness in the bass because that will make the bass lines move in the right way.
Yeah. So is that how you? Because I've seen you work and I've known you for a long time, and I've seen you mod pedals, and I ask you for stuff, and it's almost like you have like a perfect pitch thing, but with components. So I remember asking for like, no, I want it more like this, and you would like take another thing from another drawer. Did you learn that from trying different
yes
parts and combinations?
I'll tell you something. I told you about the summer that I played with anybody that would hire me. And I got the scum of the earth amps a lot of times. Believe me, those were some of the worst amps I've ever played in my entire life. And I had a bag of tricks. And there was very little information to get. But what I noticed was that there were. I had a bag of tricks with different guitar pedals. I thought, okay, maybe something would work on this.
Yeah.
And because I noticed that some pedals work better with some amps and some work with other amps, and some didn't seem to work out except with very particular amps. So I thought, okay, what I need to do is I need to make little models of amplifiers. And so, I managed to get a few schematics on amplifiers and counted through them. What are the filters that are forming this? And and something I couldn't really mimic was the speakers, but we'll get to that. But anyway, so I would then build little models of typical amplifiers and listen to them and see if there were any possible way to set the tone controls to make it easier
to get what you wanted.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you did like reversed engineering for. Can you say that?
Yes, you can say that reverse engineer. No, not quite. I think because what I wanted to do was I wanted to understand the functions. Like, okay, so how can we combat the horrors of the of the scum of the earth amps? That was more like a quest for when is it good?
Yeah.
But can we get to the point where it is good, even on the scum of the earth amp? And this was something that we also discussed. Guitarists who said, okay, I got this. I had this gig on a twin reverb, and okay, so how did you work out with that? Well, I set the tone controls like this, and then I had a Boss graphic EQ and pushed the 400 a little bit to get it to be a little flatter to use with the DS1.
Yeah.
And I mean, this kind of tips we were kind of discussed. Okay, so what kind of scum of the earth amp have you played lately?
Yeah.
And what did you
use to get around it?
How to get around? Yeah, but
make it work. Yeah.
How do you make it work? There was a lot of, at the time, I think, guitarists I knew, musicians I knew, discussed this. How do you get a really great sound out of backline amps?
Yeah.
Are there ways that you can go around this? And so, as for, I did a lot of experiments on filters and textures of distortions to find out, for instance, with the difference of what you can hear at 1/10 of a watt and what you can hear at 100 watt. There's a whole lot of difference here because the ear works in a different way. And so actually I think I did something like of an experiment for every rehearsal.
So you always brought something
new to check out.
Yeah.
Always. And those were, there must have been thousands of experiments.
Yeah. But it's like all crafts. You have to do it. It's like playing guitar or writing songs. You have to write 200 shitty songs before you write a good one. I guess you have to build 200 bad pedals before you build a really great one. I don't know. No, not necessarily, but
it is. But at the time, it was also highly driven to learn how to play different things on guitar. But there was the difficulty in getting a truly great sound was an enormous drive force. How to find a way around this. It was not like you can just get the. I mean, if I would have gotten great sounds which I did,
Yeah.
got great sounds to begin with. But if there was always great sound, I don't think, if that would have been the norm, I think that I would not have been that interested.
No.
But at the time, it was important for my semi-profession to get a truly great sound.
Yeah. And I guess back then, since it was a lot harder to get a great sound, it must have gotten you gigs.
It got me.
He's the guy.
It got me gigs. Firstly, it got me gigs. It got me jobs in bands. It also got me into setting guitar sounds for other bands.
Oh, okay.
So and there were a lot of guys. One thing that came and they said, "You have a great sound. Can you fix my sound?" And there were actually a number of guitarists that would come to shows I did with the band just to see me play, and I guess they were every time interested in what kind of gear they have. Because
but with this one, did you ever mod this?
Yes, I did. because of course I did, because it drove me nuts. It drove me totally nuts. It had one great sound, but it just,
that was it. Hi guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe.